Classic Book Review, Number 16, Aristotle's Prior Analytics. The Prior Analytics is a fundamental work of logic, and its influence can be seen throughout the history of Western philosophy. In this book, Aristotle lays out the principles of reasoning that underlie all deductive arguments, and he provides a systematic method for evaluating the validity of arguments. His work has been studied and commented on for centuries, and it continues to be an essential part of any serious study of logic. Aristotle was born in Stagira, a small town in northern Greece, in 384 BCE. His father was a physician, and Aristotle himself was trained in medicine before turning to philosophy. He became a student of Plato, and later founded his own school, the Lyceum, which became famous for its intellectual rigor and breadth of scholarship. Aristotle's Prior Analytics is a seminal work in the history of philosophy, which focuses on the logic of deductive reasoning, and is divided into two parts. The first deals with the theory of syllogisms, while the second examines the relationships between propositions. Now, let's explore some important quotes from the book. A syllogism is discourse in which, certain things being stated or supposed, something other than what is stated follows of necessity from their being so. Book 1, Chapter 1. This quote sets the stage for the entire book, as it defines the concept of a syllogism and establishes the basic principle of deductive reasoning, that certain premises logically entail a conclusion. The conclusion of an affirmative proposition is negative, and the conclusion of a negative proposition is affirmative. Book 1, Chapter 7. This statement highlights an important feature of syllogisms, namely that the conclusion must necessarily follow from the premises. Aristotle explains that the form of the conclusion depends on the form of the premises. If, then, we suppose one of the premises to be necessary, syllogisms are produced necessarily. But if the premises are not necessary, there may still be syllogisms, but not necessarily. Book 1, Chapter 11. Here, Aristotle emphasizes the importance of necessary premises in deductive reasoning. If the premises are necessary, the conclusion must follow necessarily, but if they are not, then there may still be valid syllogisms, but they will not be necessarily true. Demonstrative knowledge is a comprehension of the reasoned truth, and is a grasp of the middle term. Book 1, Chapter 27. This statement highlights Aristotle's view that knowledge is based on deductive reasoning, and that in order to have knowledge, one must understand the reasoning behind a proposition. The middle term refers to the connection between the premises and the conclusion of a syllogism. All men are animals. All animals are mortal. Therefore, all men are mortal. Book 1, Chapter 31. This is perhaps the most famous example of a syllogism, known as the Barbara syllogism. It illustrates the power of deductive reasoning to establish necessary conclusions based on simple premises. One of the most important contributions of this book is its development of a systematic method for evaluating deductive arguments. Aristotle's focus on the structure of arguments and the relationships between propositions provided a clear framework for understanding how logical inference works, and this approach has been influential in the development of formal logic throughout history. Furthermore, the prior analytics established the concept of a syllogism, which is a deductive argument consisting of two premises and a conclusion. This concept has been used in various forms throughout history, and it remains an important tool for evaluating arguments and reasoning. Overall, Aristotle's prior analytics is a foundational work in the history of philosophy and logic. It provides a clear and systematic method for evaluating deductive arguments, and its influence can be seen throughout Western thought. Aristotle's legacy as one of the greatest philosophers in history is well deserved, and his contributions to philosophy and logic continue to be studied and debated to this day. Thanks for watching. More classic book reviews are on the way. May the wisdom be with you till then.